New chapter for TNT. We're red, ready, and responsible. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
Ball is it in your hand. PNM is the plan. Ready, hold it steady. We are one. One blood flowing through we vein. We stand strong. Enemy on the road again. We are one. Every creed and every race. We stand strong. Together, no time to waste. We want your the vibes and cars in a minute. So don't hold me down. Don't fight me down. Yeah. My friend and them couldn't tell you about me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I too must acknowledge, even in his absence, the Honorable Stuart Young, Member of Parliament, outgoing for Port of Spain North St. Anne's West, Senior Counsel, and now properly and proudly the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. First Citizen, Alderman Chinua Alien, Mayor of the City of Port of Spain, and of course in your capacity as Master of Ceremonies here tonight. Join me in recognizing the PNM's brand new standard bearers, Laventille East and Laventille West, who have been identified by this great party to carry on the work that those of us who toiled in the vineyard had started and carried on, as indeed we followed others. Let us applaud and welcome these two young brothers again, expressing our admiration, our prayer, and our support for them, because they will quickly discover that this business is no walk in the park. Mr. Richard Walcott, Chairman of the San Juan Laventille Regional Corporation, all councillors, other members of council, members of the executive of both the Laventille East MOVA and Laventille West constituencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I've been asked to address you for a few moments tonight on the serious business of that which is in front of us. The UNC has, and I must admit, a wonderful piece of music, but Hotel California is nice music too by dealing with drugs. The UNC have a nice song, and the theme is When UNC Wins. Well, for me, on the basis of my close observation of the UNC, their track record, when the UNC wins, is bubble, thief, took, take, false paper, victimization, racism. They are a shame and disgrace to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, the UNC ain't win yet, and Pare lose, Anita lose, Rodney lose, Jai lose, the Mahasaba lose, Dignity lose, Integrity lose, and they win yet. And that is why we, the People's National Movement, who have been identified by the people of Trinidad and Tobago as the true and real and only national party, must stand in the gap and ensure that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are once again protected from them. And there are a multiplicity of reasons why you, every one of you in this room, and all of the thousands of people across Trinidad and Tobago watching this meeting tonight will vote for the PNM in the upcoming election. They will vote, you will vote, and give us a third term, because one good term, two good terms deserves another. But more than that, you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you know us. You know we from morning. You know Dr. Williams. You know Mr. Chambers. You know Mr. Manning. You know Dr. Rowley. And now you know the young, energetic Stuart Richard Young. You know we. You voted for us. And we, the PNM, are thankful that you have placed your trust and confidence in us, to the extent that for the independent life of this nation, as an independent country, you have voted and put us in office 84% of the time. 84%. You know, when we are in government, your treasury is safe. You know that we are not for sale. As a Minister of Works and Transport, I had reason one morning to call the Prime Minister and tell him a man offered me a bribe of a watch valued at $78,000 US. As I threw him out of my office, I called the Prime Minister and I told him that. And he told me certain pertinent things. The bottom line of all of that was, he said, Fitz, if people like you sell your soul to people like him for things like that, we will not be worth the respect of those who voted us into office. We are not perfect. We have made mistakes along the way. Only God is perfect. And we know, you know, we can't please everybody every time. But you know our standards. You know what we aim to. And you have observed in the last 10 years, not a single minister in the government has been justifiably and with a sustainable argument proved or pointed out any corruption against any one of us. And as you know, corruption is a major issue in economies around the world, including Trinidad and Tobago. You had 2 terms of the UNC between 1995 and 2001, and between 2010, 2015, and an extra 3 months. Remember that? They have a track record, Trinidad and Tobago. So what we say from these platforms is not speculation. It is not conjecture. It is not old talk. We ask that you judge us by our record, and by all means, judge Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her band of crooks on their record. Well, unfortunately, somebody say we're supposed to jail them. I was a police. If I was a police, still I'd lock up everyone. But I don't have them powers. I don't have that power. That is for somebody else. In 2001, they corrupted themselves out of office. And in 2015, they corrupted themselves out of office even more spectacularly. And you must be reminded, Trinidad and Tobago, about Clause 34, action taken to give a free pass to those who are accused and charged for criminal offenses. You remember Life Sport. You remember the EMBD issue where a matter of days before they left office, election was Monday. Within the last 2 weeks of their leaving office, they borrowed and disbursed 400 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars to people for work that was even never done. You see her? You go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, PNM family, somebody just arrived to Laventille. Somebody just arrived to Laventille. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Please join me in welcoming to this PNM meeting in the heartland of PNM country. Join us in welcoming our Honorable Prime Minister, the person who is going to lead us into victory, the person who is ready and responsible, a man who is about to write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome to this meeting in Success, Laventille, the Honorable Stuart Richard Young, Senior Counsel. He has a vision for Trinidad and Tobago. He will ensure that dignity and morality in public affairs is at the front burner of the government's agenda. He will write a whole new chapter. He will transform the governance of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, your Prime Minister and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Stuart Richard Young.
Shaking like an earthquake, but everyone was fine. It wasn't hot, girl,
Thank you all very much for that warm welcome for our Prime Minister. Prime Minister, if I wasn't a PNM, I'd afraid the PNM, yes, the PNM is a mightyful force. A mightyful force. Imagine that lady tell us she purged the UNC. And Big Munilal still stuck in the UNC's large intestine. She purged the UNC, but David Lee, Hugh Longpoy, Handbag Pararat, and all of them still lurking. Don't let them fool you. Nothing had changed. Nothing had changed. We saw them for 2 terms and we know who they are. The UNC remains unfit to lead this country. Unfit. I told a man yesterday, as I tell you tonight, I hear them criticizing our government and talking about the last 10 years. I want to put on public record, I am not ashamed. I have nothing to be ashamed about. The People's National Movement managed the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago in the most difficult times, and we fared pretty well inside of it. Nothing to be afraid, nothing to be ashamed about. Understand that. 2008, I was there watching the international banking system collapse. CLICO, CIB, major conglomerate with about 25% of the GDP, they said at the time, collapsed. This government moved in, bailed it out, made Trinidad and Tobago's economy safe. Of course, from 2015 to 2020, I, as a Minister of Works, we all took a 7% cut. The major job when we came to office was to stabilize the economy, and we did that. And right after that, we went back to government with your support, and we were faced with the pandemic, COVID-19, and right behind that, severely fluctuating and depressing oil and gas prices. And we are a gas economy, so when the price of oil and gas go down, we were losing income, losing revenue. And we had difficult times, and as you would have heard the Prime Minister Young say, we had serious decisions to make, and we made them. And Trinidad and Tobago came through better than many more developed countries around the globe. And we did it with your support. And I think you should give yourselves a round of applause, because every one of you shared the burden with us. What did we do? We decided to suppress expenditure, because just like your household budget, if your income is X and you're spending more than X, you have a problem. So we decided to suppress expenditure. That touched wage negotiations too. We say we couldn't give you what you wanted. It would bankrupt the economy. Reasonable people understood that. I sat in the cabinet, asked Dr. Brown, especially asked Prime Minister Young, and watched the cabinet behave like my grandmother used to, penny pinching, making sure we don't waste a penny on nothing. Ministers come to cabinet, the bill might be bloated a bit, and when chairman of the FNGP, Stuart Young, take a Chinese chopper, take a pen, and he start to go through, so it come down to something more realistic, penny pinching of the highest order. No governmental corruption, none. Businessmen tell me, when we came to office, no more did they have to fine 30 and 40% to pay no minister. That was a thing of the past. We avoided the IMF. And then they criticize us about Venezuela, but I think Prime Minister Young, former Prime Minister Rowley, ought to be saluted and applauded by this country for the genuine efforts they made to find a gas supply when our gas reserves show signs of depleting from our mature fields. And all they did was to go hither, thither, and yon, trying to find a stream of gas to keep Point Lisas going. Because Point Lisas is the major breadbasket income earner for Trinidad and Tobago. Without that, your standard of living is at risk. All the nice life you're accustomed to is at serious risk. And therefore, all I could do is commend them. And while all of that was going on, is development evermore. Valencia to Toko Highway, Curep Interchange. I'm only reminding you all, because the alternative is the chaos and corruption of the UNC. Diego Martin Health Center, Roxborough, Point 14, Grandi, Arima, and Port of Spain Central Block. All of this happened in the tightest of circumstances. Red House restored. We were in the waterfront. We're back in the Red House now. Meal flares around the Savannah. Stallmeyer Castle, President's House. Right now the cabinet meets in Whitehall again. We fixed that. Of course, new Brian Lara Stadium restored, new government campus on Richmond Street, new immigration building, new Inland Revenue building, new Ministry of Education block, San Fernando Waterfront project. Serious work from National Security, St. Joseph Police Station, Roxborough Police Station, Maracas Police Station, Besor Street, Caranage Police Station, building evermore. In the hardest of times, we reopened the Barataria Station, the Brasso Station, the Moriah Station, and San Rafael next. I watched children in the Laventille pool. That wasn't there. As we put that there. Mova pool. Pool in Maloney. For we. Diego Martin Shopping Complex. The Maruga Multipurpose Sporting Complex. Mahaika Ovals, New Skinner Park. Maracas Beach Improvement. Maruga Agro and Light Industrial Manufacturing Facility. All of that, you people of Trinidad and Tobago listening to this meeting, remember that in the toughest of economic times. And all of that meant new economic activity with the multiplier effect, jobs created for the construction, and of course the businesses that will stay there. Laventille and the East-West Corridor, I want to tell you something. The UNC have a campaign that the PNM Black Party did nothing for you black people. You couldn't get a bigger and dirtier lie. The first question you have to ask yourself, if the PNM did not do for you, who did? Who did? But they're running that narrative, and they're almost telling you that things bad and you're hard up, a negative kind of narrative to get you down. And of course, they are paying some of us. They are paying some of us 30 dirty pieces of silver to run propaganda campaigns to tell you that you are so badly off and the PNM did nothing for you. But I always say in Laventille, this school right here in Success Village was put here by the PNM. Thousands of people passed through this school. And we have had great successes from it. I'll tell you something, the education system that we put in place. There's a young lady called Jamila Harris, came out of Mova by you know, but she's inside of the campaign supporting it. She's probably somewhere here tonight. She won a national scholarship from this school. She went to Bishops. She beat them and got the President's Medal there. She won an open scholarship. She went and did actuarial science, and then she went on to do a PhD at Cambridge in developmental economics, all on the basis of the PNM's educational opportunity for all. And she's only one. There are many. I had a young lady from Village Council Street came to me. I saw her. I worked closely with her. Today, Liana Williams Andrews is a medical doctor practicing at Mount Hope in the last 5-6 years. And don't talk about young Sachel Critchlow, her father up and down here tonight, championing the greatness of the PNM. She never comes second in tests yet. From primary school, secondary school, she beat them all the way through. She too won an open national scholarship. And she's now in Ireland pursuing a study in medicine. Give her your love and a round of applause. And not everybody will be a doctor or a lawyer or an actuarial scientist. But I'll tell you something, every one of us is blessed with some talent, some gift, some skill. And the system we have in Trinidad allows every one of us an opportunity to be the best that we could be. But as you heard earlier from Mr. Birchwood, and you will hear from Mr. Marcel, with all of that, it requires some personal effort. It requires some personal energy. It requires some personal sacrifice. And it is all possible. $80,000 laptops. I hear them talking about laptops. We will give you a laptop. Well, we're doing that long time. 80,000 of them. No VAT on uniforms. Children, free bus rides. Universities available. I'm telling you, man, we did the business. And you see this school? It produced Kieran Pollard, Akil Hossein, live not too far around the corner from here. The top T20 bowler in the world attended this school and lived around the corner from here. Akil Hossein. Kerry Pierre also came out of this school, and many, many more. Many, many more. This community produced a former chief of defense staff or two, produced deputy commissioners of police, produced two ACPs of police. One of them, I saw him here tonight, Mr. Terry Young. Give him a round of applause. Right here. On one street, on Village Council Street, alone in Laventille, 2 doctors, 3 attorneys at law, and a young man called Nathaniel who just came out of UE with a top-class degree in actuarial science too. You think we easy? P&M education system. So I'm not taking no nonsense from them. Whether in every field, well, don't talk for housing. There are many of us who would not have had a house to call our own had it not been for sound P&M housing policy. And we building them and we distributing them. This is what we have done, and this is what we are doing. We have a crime problem, though. We have a crime problem. And we instituted, just as the time ticks, we instituted a state of emergency in order to protect some of us from ourselves. I am in a position to say tonight, I believe, not believe, it is a fact, regardless of what Munilal and the rest of them say. The state of emergency reduced the murders in this country by about 31-32%. That's a fact. We recovered more firearms during the state of emergency than we ordinarily would. There was increased, intensified policing activity, which is the thing that is necessary. We brought down the murder figure to that extent, and the police have given the assurance that they will continue to hold the fort to keep the thing down. And some of those 30% reduction may very well have been some of those who engaged in the fighting because it was gangland thing. I remember when we discussed it right here in Prisgalan, one morning, I think it was a Sunday morning, 5 people were killed in a place in Prisgalan where I grew up, right up the hill from here. And it is at that point we decided we couldn't let these warring factions in their empty ignorance continue bloodletting and creating mayhem in the society. We imposed a state of emergency, and we have no regrets about that. 5,192 police operations. We targeted 3,561 priority offenders, people known to the police. Conducted 36,368 searches across Trinidad and Tobago, vehicles and premises. And 1,590 persons were charged. Brothers and sisters, time has run. But I want to tell you before I close that you on April the 28th have a serious choice to make. Every one of you in this room, we know where you stand. You're PNM and you're proud, like we. But for you listening in Trinidad and Tobago, this is no joke. We have seen the UNC And we have seen the long, illustrious years of service by the People's National Movement to this country. And the choice on April the 28th is obviously yours. And if I were you, well, in fact, I know who I'm voting for. But if I were you, I will join the majority of decent, right-thinking people in Trinidad and Tobago and vote resoundingly for the People's National Movement. And when Esmond Ford licked down the empty Musselman in Tunapuna politically, when Christian Birchwood conquered a little upstart in Laventille East Mova, when Kareem Marcel mercilessly joined me the same fellow who going for the UNC in Laventille West, he came twice before, like the man have a sickness for licks. I beat him once, I beat him twice, and now young Kareem is going to go and cut his tail again. And today I drove past the constituency, well, the headquarters, the Prime Minister's campaign headquarters in Belmont, Prime Minister. The thing looked glorious. I stopped my car. I meditated for a while. I said a prayer. I continue to ask God's greatest blessings upon you. And when you beat that UNC upstart in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, and we gather all the PNM seats around the country, and we march with a mighty PNM army to Balize House in celebration of a great victory, in celebration of defending the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And together as always, from 1956 to today, we will all in unison say, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. We must prevail.
My friend, I in a good spirit. I drink in a good moment.
This is a new chapter. Join us on the road to victory. On Saturday, April 19th, Tobago, meet us at the Goodwood Secondary School for the Big Red Rally. And Maruga, the People's National Movement, will be having a public meeting at St. Mary's Recreation Ground. We're red, ready, and responsible. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.